Hi, my name's Andrea Simmons and I'm the founder of the Australian Anti-Ice campaign. The Australian Anti-Ice campaign was founded in order to raise awareness and educate our community, particularly youth, on the dangers of the drug called ice. You see, 8 years ago I was introduced to an ice pipe. I had no idea what it was, and I certainly had no idea what it was about to do to me. It was introduced to me by somebody that I cared about, somebody that I trusted and had known for 13 years. And I really didn't think it was a big deal to have a bit of a puff of a little glass pipe, not knowing the entrapment and the hell that it was going to take me to. I spent 2 years entrapped in a turmoil of hell. Ice took from me everything that I owned. It separated me from my family, from my friends, from my work, and from myself. Ice took me to a place where I was having severe mental health issues. I was suicidal. I was in psychosis. And I was locked down away from society in what we call Ice World. It was a really scary place to be, and I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. I had a supernatural encounter with God that helped me come back to home and lock myself in a room so that I can start thinking straight again. After 1.5 years of recovery, I was asked to speak in a school and to share what ice did and stole from me, and how ice had left me scarred for life with kidney and heart issues and memory retention problems. And when I did that, I saw the impact that lived experience journey can have on explaining the realities of ice. And AAIC was birthed in order to unveil that enemy, not only to the community but specifically to our youth who are at high risk of being offered this drug today. Ice is a global issue. It is affecting many countries, many communities, but specifically Australia, with the highest ice users per capita in the world. Every day I wake up and I think, how many more kids are going to be offered this drug? How many more lives are going to be stolen? How many more families destroyed? And what are we doing about it? AAIC are educating youth in schools, in high schools across our nation. We're raising awareness through events and campaigns. But we're also helping people that are in ice addiction and wanting help. We help them create a pathway into detoxes, rehabs and recovery. Every life is valuable. Everyone is somebody's brother, sister, mother or loved one. Nobody deserves to be stuck in hell. And we're asking you to help today. As community-minded people, you can help make a difference. Together in unity, we can put the freeze on ice in our nation.
Thanks very much, Andrea. I first became involved with the Australian Anti-Ice campaign after a ridiculous number of young men that I'd coached as kids at a junior rugby league club either ended up in prison or with chaotic lives and severe mental health issues as a result of getting trapped in ice addiction. At the time when this all happened, people within that club, and particularly the young people, had absolutely no idea what ice was or what it would do to them. And the leaders within the club, including myself, had no idea how to get any information or any sort of support for the people that were affected. I truly believe that if the Anti-Ice campaign's Community Partners program had been around back then, and if that small club had been a member of that campaign, then life could have been a lot easier for a lot of those young boys. Now, before I get into explaining the Community Partners program, I just want to spend a minute or two to really look at the extent of the problem that we face with ice use in Australia right now. In 2015, the National Ice Task Force reported that proportionally, Australia uses more methamphetamine than almost any other country, and that the number of users continues to grow. The National Drug Strategy Household Survey found that in 2007 over 100,000 Australians used ice. By 2013 that figure had grown to 200,000, and by 2019 we had over 300,000 Australians using one of the most addictive and destructive drugs known to man. So how do you possibly begin to address such a huge problem? Perhaps part of the answer is to actually do something different. Over the past 8 years, the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign has developed high-impact education, training and support services, with the critical point of difference being the use of people like Andrea who have lived through the hell of ice addiction. Our anti-ice workshops have been delivered in high schools, to children engaged in the youth justice system, online through the School of Distance Education, as well as in prisons, mines and other workplaces. We've trained and equipped hundreds of people to help others who are struggling with ice addiction, and our Lived Experience Buddy program provides one-on-one mentoring and connection to support services nationally. Our challenge is to make these services accessible to all Australians. AAIC's Community Partners program has been developed in line with recommendations of the National Ice Task Force as one way for us to meet that challenge. The task force identified an opportunity to use community-based initiatives to empower local residents to become active players in the process of community change. The task force also found that communities either don't know what to do or don't have sufficient resources to develop a response. The AAIC Community Partners program simply provides education, training and support services to equip community groups to become active players in the process of community change. We can't solve this problem on our own, but we can do our part, knowing that every person that we can influence to say no, or not even once, if ice is ever offered to them, and every person that we can help find a pathway into recovery from ice addiction is a huge victory, not only for the person themselves, but for their family, their friends and for the wider community. The education component of the Community Partners program includes a community workshop, an AAIC ebook, and membership of a Community Partners Facebook group. The workshop is an opportunity to get your community together, including children, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, anyone who is in any way connected to your community, and have an experienced AAIC presenter deliver a 75-minute workshop in which they weave their own story of ice addiction and recovery into an evidence-based interactive workshop. We believe that every teenager in Australia needs to experience this workshop, and if they can do so in the presence of their parents or someone they respect, for example their coach, as the beginning of a real and informed conversation on this issue, then that is a huge added bonus. The ebook is a video-based online resource, again designed for parents to sit down with their teenage children and have a discussion about this issue. It is, however, also designed to equip as many people as possible within the community to act as ambassadors for AAIC in promoting our Not Even Once message. Access to an AAIC Facebook group gives community partners an ongoing connection to AAIC and our support services, and the ability to participate in AAIC events such as our annual Walk Against Ice event. The training component to the Community Partners program is a 2-hour video-based course, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Interventions, developed by Optimal Health Group founder and CEO George Patrici. This course gives people an understanding of the integrative holistic model for dealing with people in addiction, the cycle of addiction, the stages of change, and how to do a brief intervention to help a person weigh up the costs versus the benefits of their addiction. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Intervention training is designed to help parents of teenage children who may be in the early stages of experimenting with or being exposed to drugs, family members struggling with a loved one using ice, leaders within community groups who want to be equipped to help others within their communities, and anyone struggling with addiction of any kind, including alcohol, tobacco and gambling issues. The support component of the AAIC Community Partners Program involves providing a direct line of communication and ongoing support from AAIC's Lived Experience Buddy peer support program. This support includes family support to strengthen families and equip them to help a loved one who's using ice, recovery coaching to encourage and support people who are seeking recovery from ice addiction, and access to support, established relationships to streamline the process of people getting the support they need, including detox and rehabilitation services. We want your community to be a group of people who understands ice for what it really is, an insidiously poisonous chemical concoction that ultimately and often very rapidly destroys the physical and mental health of almost every person who becomes addicted to it. We want to equip your community with basic training to be able to reach out to others who are impacted by ice, and with the ability to connect these people to AAIC for support. As I said earlier, every young person or every person we can convince to say no, or not even once if they're ever offered ice, and every person we can help to find recovery from ice addiction is a huge victory. Not only for that person, but for that person's family, their friends, and for your community. So please, become an AAIC community partner and help us make a real difference. Thank you.